also have happened to have the same internship because of each other for the past 3 years at Lubrizol too. So that kind of goes into our next category, which is scholarships through relations. So as Kate said, we really try to promote learning not only by learning your own style of learning, but to promote others to learn their own style and then give them opportunities as well to shine. So something we're working on right now is our alumni database, and that kind of goes into this whole career development aspect, and really helping each other realize your opportunities within your major, outside of your major, and then with your career aspirations. So we'll touch a little bit on our alumni database in a little bit because that's kind of in the works. And I'm super excited about it as a graduating senior to be able to give back in this new awesome way. But what we found is really important is to start this scholarship engagement from the first year. We've really noticed that the first year experience is very different from the fourth year experience. So to kind of get people engaged with this career development and this academic development from their 5 stages is incredibly important. So another thing that Jenna Kelly, she's the star of the show, developed last year is our Phi Study Buddy system. So she personally went through all of our 35 new members, matched them up with a sister based on major or career goals, and then the pair was encouraged to study together, to discuss career goals, to discuss aspirations, to discuss difficulties in classes, pretty much anything. And I know Kate was a study buddy, and she found it incredibly beneficial. You can talk about it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was the first, I was like the trial year, and I ended up being a study buddy to our current vice president of committees, Madeline Hall. We're both pre-meds, we both want to go to medical school and then work abroad, and it was really cool to be able to talk to her about that common goal and like what she had, you know, what career path she wanted to take and what I wanted to take and how those were similar. And it was also really, really nice to kind of act as a mentor to a new Phi because she was in the classes that I had just taken only 1 or 2 semesters before, so to be able to kind of give her that advice that I wish I could have had was really, really cool. And it's been a lot of positive feedback on this system.
Right, and sort of starting that mentoring program early, we've found that this scholarship through relationships then leads into this harboring of a more active alumni network. So you're already being connected with a sister in their very first year of their, again, journey through Phi Mu, and to keep that relationship and that mentor ability blossoming into the alumni years as well. Unfortunately, since there's only 30 or 35 new members, last year there were 35, this year there are 30, not everybody's going to get a Phi study buddy. I was unfortunately one of those poor members that didn't get a Phi study buddy. So one of our members, Mary Claire Flaherty, who kind of had similar feelings about being left out, yeah, has created a sister study buddy program. So it's pretty much the same thing. We're being matched by career path or major with a sister. So again, it's keeping that mentoring thing. And I totally wish I had a study buddy as a Phi, but now I get to have a study buddy as a senior. And it'll be a little bit of a different relationship, but something I'm really, really looking forward to. Last thing, scholarships through relationships, is our new scholarship database. This is something that's incredibly developed from 2013 until 2015. Back in 2013, it was really just our test and notes bank that was on paper in a file cabinet in our basement, and it was pretty much anybody can throw anything in there at any time. There was really no rhyme or reason to it. There were a lot of classes that were missing from it, labs would go missing, and not everything met the academic integrity policy. Last year, Jenna Kelly developed our scholarship database a little more to help things meet this academic integrity policy, which I'll explain a little bit about what we're doing with that. And then she also included a Excel spreadsheet that included every single major and every single class on it, and sisters are encouraged to go in and list what classes they took, what year, and with which professors. So future sisters can go in and say, oh, Kate took this class. I'm really having trouble with this professor. Maybe she can help me with their teaching style and her learning style. I know that they're very similar. And I've had sisters reach out to me about it, and Kate's had sisters reach out to her, and I've reached out to sisters as well too using this new database that Jenna developed. She also furthered it a little more into the digital world. So right now we're in the process of converting all of those previous tests and previous labs and previous notes into digital copies, so scanning them in and then vetting them through our academic integrity screening process. So everything now has to go through our academic scholarship chair, or academic excellence chair, Olivia Ham, who's very familiar with the academic integrity policy. So she personally screens all of them before they go onto our scholarship database site, which is seen right here. So instead of having everything sort of in different areas, there were some files in the basement, there was some stuff online, and sisters were sort of sharing things kind of willy-nilly with each other and then with people outside of our chapter. Now it's all in one solid place and we can access it through one URL. So if you see, we kind of have the home, the sisters majors, which is the list of current sisters majors, and then recently graduated alumni majors, classes, which is again that Excel spreadsheet that I talked about, professor ratings, self-explanatory, alumni listing, talk about that a little later, that's the awesome alumni database that we're making, alumni map, internship and job listings, again, what Kate's gone through and what I've gone through with our jobs and research positions, and then options after graduation, which is another big thing that's being incorporated in this alumni database.
So just to give you kind of a visual representation of all of the changes that we've been talking about throughout the entire presentation, we made this kind of flow chart for you to see 2013 to that 2014 year presenting, and then what we're doing now. The dash arrows are kind of programming that we felt was really beneficial and that was really good for our chapter, but that maybe needed a little tweaking based on feedback that we'd received. The solid arrows are programming that we realized was working, everyone really liked it, and we really wanted to continue that programming. And then the pink boxes are the things that we added for that year. So as you can see, the scholarship database over the years has remained present in our chapter, but has definitely changed throughout the years. Study tables became library nights. The scholarship game became kind of more holistic scholarship game, and now an even more holistic Scholars of the Chain game. In 2014, as we said, Jenna Kelly started Study Buddies, and she started the academic checklist, both of which we love, and continued to 2015. Study Buddies has now included the sisters, which is why there's a dashed arrow there. And then just very recent updates to our scholarship program are our alumni network, our digital resources, and our scholarship database. So something that we know that we are kind of lacking in, which we'll talk about in our further improvements page that we have coming up, is that we know that we have such a vast resource in our alumni. We haven't really kind of tapped into that, and it's really a shame because there's so much that they can teach us and so much opportunity there. So we have been working really hard to incorporate them, and actually in the past, just past 2 weeks, we sent emails to basically any alumni that we had contact information on, and asked them what they're doing now, what their major was at Case, when they graduated, you know, if they went on to do any further, you know, PhD, Master's, MD, dental, anything like that, and if they'd be willing to answer questions or be a mentor to current sisters. And we've gotten a ton of positive feedback and a ton of responses, and we're all really, really excited about that. And so that's definitely in the works. And we also are really looking forward to kind of working with the alumni. We're working on developing an event where the alumni would come back and they would talk about kind of the things that they're doing now, and then in addition, the sisters who are aspiring to have careers similar to the careers that our past sisters are in now, they would do kind of a mock interview session. So they would interview the current sisters for the position that they're in now and then give them feedback on that interview. These are all things we're just kind of working on and trying to incorporate because this is kind of a new aspect of our scholarship and we're really excited about it.
So continuing on into areas of improvement, I know we talked a lot about career development. And that really goes, like we said, with this alumni database. Like I said, from the first year to the last year, it's a very different journey and a very different experience in Phi Mu. And we've really tried to tie those together through career development. In the past, we've talked about how the senior experience is kind of a little more detached. And we're trying to bring the seniors in through the sister study buddies and the Phi study buddies and talking about career development. I know in 2014 we discussed having a chapter program that separated the seniors so they would have their own programs that were a little more career-based and were a little more alumni-based, and that would exclude them from our regular chapter discussions. And in the direction we were going with chapter discussions and having that mainly, again, discussion-based chapter, we really didn't want that to happen, and it was very counterintuitive to our future goals. So we ex-nayed that and instead found that this Phi Study Buddies and Sister Study Buddies is something that is going to really help us with the career development as well as this alumni network. You're going to touch on that a little more.
Yeah, we found that a lot of sisters were very personally motivated in their career development, and that they felt they already had the tools with, for example, Stephen Sugar with his pre-med tools. They felt that we felt that they were developing their careers by themselves well. But we think that it would be really important to kind of continue that and kind of discuss career development as a chapter whole. And that's what we're working towards with the alumni database and the study buddies, to kind of create a mentoring relationship and things like that. And then the second area of improvement is intellectual development. We have a little bit of that, like we were talking about with our events of the week and encouraging sisters to go to, scholarship events that aren't strictly about grades, that are just, total intellectual scholarship kind of development events. But as a chapter, we don't really have a set definition of what we want our intellectual development to look like, and we really would like to sit down as a chapter and kind of develop that and see where it takes us.
So right now the plan is to, again, have the discussion question posed: what is your personal definition of intellectual development, and what do you do to intellectually develop yourself? And have every single member of the chapter come up with her own few sentence definition and combine those so that we can have a complete overarching Phi Mu specific definition of intellectual development. And from that, we'll definitely be able to see our strengths, which is really awesome, and where also the holes and where we really need to go in our 3 to 5 year plan for our academic excellence program.
Yeah. And that is it. All I have for you.
Awesome. Nice.
Questions? So for the Sister Study Buddy program, maybe you touched on this and I just didn't get it. Is that something that everyone participates in Phi Mu, or is it something that volunteers participate in, just some individuals?
It's a voluntary thing.
Okay.
We've tried in the past to have things like Sister Study Buddies, or when I was a freshman, we had sisterhood development pairs that everybody was required to do, and it would always be kind of a half-hearted thing where one member would be really into it and the other member would kind of be like, I didn't really want to do this to begin with, we're really over-programmed. So again, over-programming is something that we've really tried to diminish in our chapter, that idea that we're over-programmed. So a lot of things are voluntary, like this new study program. Also the fact that it is the first year that we're really trying it out, I think that the voluntary aspect of it is really important.
Yeah. About how many individuals?
I'm actually not sure.
I was just talking about this with Mary Claire.
Yeah?
Yeah. We had, I think, 60 sisters apply to be a Phi Study Buddy, and 30 sisters got paired because there are 30 Phis. So I think it's about 30 sisters on top of that. So it's half of our chapter. And we do, I don't want to say require, but we do essentially require the Phis to have a study buddy in the chapter. And we strongly stress that if you sign up to be a study buddy for a Phi, that you hold yourself accountable to that, and you make sure to meet them and make sure to have those conversations. So we're hoping that if we kind of like start the sisters wanting to do that like at their first year, then that will continue as years pass.
I think that just gives me an idea.
Can you tell us which benchmark you think you're going for in the scholarship holder?
Distinction.
We think distinction. We definitely in the past 2 years have really reflected and evaluated what has been working and what hasn't been working and where our holes are. And we're really proud of that, and we're really excited of all the programming that has come out of that for us. So we definitely think distinction is where we are.
And I definitely think the programming that we've implemented too, again talking about this over-programming idea, it's not even close to being in the realm of this over-program thing. If we go back to this slide here, a lot of these things that we see in 2014 and 2015 are things that we either already had in place or things that were incredibly necessary or voluntary for people to get involved in. So As far as academics goes, that's definitely not one of the things in our chapter that people are complaining about over-programming, which I think is really awesome, and it really shows our testament to our dedication to improving our scholarship. Questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.